Welcome to Re's Being Refined by the Fires. I'm REnecia Bihms-Cullier, and today I have two of my friends. You are my favorites. My new favorites. Uh, Two of my favorite people, and we came to know each other through our girls taking ballet together, and have had some adventures along the way with through the Nova program. So say hello, Jackie and Jake McDuffee. So let me pray us in. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this podcast interview. Help us engage in meaningful discussion, allowing it to fall on fertile ground. Release your love on those who are blinded in any way that they might see. Give us the right words to say to capture people's attention, and I pray that they share this interview with whoever they believe could also benefit from something they learned or heard today. Being edutained, both educated and entertained. These are our prayers through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so how are you guys really doing today?
Well, I definitely had a long day at work, but I'm doing all right. I'm making it.
Okay.
Jake, I'm a little worn out and run around the clock, working all day.
Wow. And what kind of work do you do? I see you driving up in a van, but I never paid attention to. Is it a logo on the van, or is it just a plain van?
I do maintenance work at different properties. Plumbing, electrical, appliance work.
Okay.
Bunch of different things.
Okay. Okay. Jackie, I can't remember how long it's been since we actually met. Maybe possibly 2 or 3 years ago.
I think it was before the pandemic because the girls danced together before the pandemic.
Really? So it's been over 4 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I remember because I didn't know whether you guys had a car or not. Because the first time I remember seeing you guys, it was at the Lion Center, and y'all was catching the bus. I didn't think y'all had a car. So
no,
y'all
we had one car at the time.
Okay.
And Jake worked at the power company over in Mississippi then.
Okay.
And so it was really easy because the bus
let you off right there.
Yeah, well, and it would pick me up directly where we lived at the time. And then, it dropped you off right there at the Lion Center, turned right around and took me back home. So it was the easiest thing in the world to do.
Yep. Wow.
So we did that for a while. Yeah.
But, I've never ridden the bus. I've ridden the trolley cars, but I've never ridden the city buses.
Oh, we used to do the city bus all the time for all kinds of stuff. It's so easy. And we're lucky in New Orleans because we have a good public transportation system.
Yeah. Yep. But I didn't realize it had been that before the pandemic.
Yeah, because I believe they were in Bridge.
So they've danced up with each other.
Right.
Wow. Because they're in Teal now, in Teal track. Because
that's right.
The New Orleans Ballet Association has tracks where the girls audition, and then they put them in different classes that they call tracks, TRACKs. And our girls have moved up from Bridge, then it's Releve, and then
no, it was Releve Bridge.
I'm sorry, it was Releve Bridge and what?
And then Teal. The teal and blue are kind of, they kind of switch around a little bit as to what that means.
Yeah, I know. And this time, it seems like they're doing more in Teal. So some of the girls from Blue were put back into Teal. They're doing more this year.
Right, and I think that was kind of by design. I feel like Blue is a little bit younger than it was last year.
Well, yeah, it does seem like that. It's the girls in there are younger. Because I have a friend, Desiree Chavez, is in the Blue class, and she's 10 years old.
Right.
Yeah, so they are much younger. Yeah. She's her and Zahn. Her mom, Sophia Chavez, Sharuba Chavez actually did Zahn's testing when she was at her other school, Elon Academy.
Okay.
And yeah, but we couldn't hang out then since that was a what do you call it? Against,
Conflict of interest?
yeah, it was in a conflict of interest, yeah. So, but as soon as school was out and the testing was over, we started hanging out. We've been friends ever since.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
So, but Jake, you are really a man of few words, literally. It's like pulling teeth. I say a word, I get a word back. Okay, can I have a couple of sentences, please? But my husband is like that too. Maybe it's a man thing.
I don't know. I sit back and observe a lot. That's what I do. Yeah.
He's an observer too. Yep.
Yeah.
But I actually had a conversation with you for the first time when we came over to you guys' high-rise apartment in downtown New Orleans, in the Central Business District. Yep. So, are both of you guys' parents still living? And if so, are they still together?
My mother is still living, and she is married to my stepdad. They have been married for 30 years, nearly 30 years.
Okay.
My father passed away in 2012.
Okay.
And my parents are still together. They've been married since 1970.
Woo!
Yeah, I think 72.
Wow.
And they live in the sleepy little town of Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Wow.
Sleepy.
I heard that. What do you mean sleepy? Slow?
Oh, no. That's just that's the little song that Ray Stevens did. The sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It's really known for its shipyards and power plants and industry, really.
How do you spell the city? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Pascagoula.
Pascagoula. Huh. Pascagoula, Mississippi. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, it's a Native American one.
Do you know what it means?
I think it means the Singing River or something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Everything there is Singing River. Because I grew up in Hurley, Mississippi, which is not far from Pascagoula, and it is a very tiny town. There were only 940 people living there the year I was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's a little ways bigger than that, but now. But they think they're hot stuff now because they have a CVS and they have a couple of stoplights.
A CVS and a couple of stoplights. So it was a one-light town.
Oh, we didn't have any lights when I was a kid.
So wait, hold on.
Yeah, no, really, it was a teeny tiny little town, and but we all knew about Singing River because there was a Native American legend that they were trying to take over.
Wait, I'm wrong.
Oh, what's it called?
Pascagoula means bread eaters.
Bread eaters.
I knew those Native Americans.
But the Singing River thing, Singing River Hospital and everything is Singing River because when they were trying to take the natives' land and they were trying to force them out, they walked into the river singing, and they actually drowned. And they say that to this day you can hear them singing at the river. Really? Yes.
That's creepy.
Yes, it is very much so. And that was a story I heard all the time when I was little.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little creeped out by the river as a child because of that.
And that's when they actually had the alien abductions that were just on Netflix. This show on Netflix.
About Pascagoula?
About Pascagoula, yeah. There was alien abductions there in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it was two men that worked at the shipyard there. And they've held true to their stories ever since. I think one passed away recently. But yeah, it's that's one of Pascal's claims to fame is the alien abduction.
So they were abducted and the aliens brought them back?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I don't know, but they actually put up a plaque and everything down there by the river. For the, commemorating it, and they still have like these little community days, and every now and again they'll have one that's alien themed, and all the little businesses down there in Pascagoula put little alien stuff out in front of their store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of a big deal there.
What time of year do they do that?
I want to say it was fall. Isn't that what they said? So yeah, it's a really interesting, and he calls Pascagoula sleepy. I'm gonna tell you, it's not really that sleepy. Every crazy thing I think I've ever seen in my life has happened in Pascagoula, so it's always something going on down there. It's kind of an odd little place, but it's definitely interesting.
Wow, I'm learning a lot. Hold on, you said, Jake, your parents they're still together and they've been married how long?
What would it be?
Almost 50 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Long time.
That's a lifetime for some people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been married 3 times and I'm just 56. Yeah. But 2 of those marriages shouldn't have happened. I'm finally married. I finally met my person.
I understand that. I've been married before, but Jackie's the only one I've ever counted.
Yep. Oh, she's the only one that worth counting. Yeah. I hear you, because I feel the same way about Alex. I've been married before, but he's my only husband. Right. That's been there for me through thick and thin, literally. Yep. Wow.
And I was married to Gigi's dad for 9 years.
Okay.
But we were high school sweethearts. We met when we were like 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but just, side note for anybody listening to the podcast, don't marry your high school sweetheart. Just thing is, people grow up and some people don't grow up.
Yep. And that's a problem.
It really is. And you just become different people.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even really mean to. You just do.
You mature.
And I'm not saying, it won't work out for anybody. It's just, typically the person you are when you're 15 is not the person you are when you're in your 30s.
No. And I'm sorry, but I know you're supposed to be with one person and that's supposed to be your person for life, but it's like, I just can't really get behind that, because how do you know if you married the first person the only person you dated and you married them, how would you know what else is out there? And wouldn't you be curious to know?
Well, and also, I mean, like I said, some of us grow up and some of us don't.
Yeah.
And, I think, I definitely believe in the sanctity of marriage, but at the same time, I don't think that God wants us to be in an abusive situation.
Oh, well, I'm exited. I'm counted out of that right then. Them 2 marriages, both of them were abusive. The first one was physically.
God doesn't want you to sit there and be abused. So, I think that's a tough thing for some people.
My oldest daughter is blessed to be here, because when I first was pregnant, her dad was stomping me in my stomach. So for me to carry her to term and then go into labor, and I had my first, I'm going to have to do a episode about that, because my first birth, I was living in San Antonio then. I moved away from Houston. Actually, hold on. I ran away from home to marry the guy that I married. a snake boy that I met at the skating rink. And we were clashing even when we were dating, but he had never hit me, never touched me, or said anything bad to me. But after we got married, it was like the boxing gloves came out.
Yeah.
I was his punching bag. It was like, dude, I'm your wife. I'm a girl. And and then once because I got pregnant right away, and so I graduated pregnant. Yep.
Wow.
But that was a horrible situation, and yes, I advise anybody: do not accept abuse. You don't deserve abuse. Nobody deserves to be hit. No adult deserves to be hit, and for I'm not gonna say for no reason, but it was like I'd get beat because I didn't cook his dinner because I had morning sickness. No, I didn't have morning sickness. I was sick. I was nauseous all day, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. I could only keep saltine crackers down and water. So I'm sorry if I didn't have the energy to cook your dinner. So that's not a reason to beat me because I didn't have your dinner fixed. Like he was picturing the Leave It to Beaver mom.
Right.
I was supposed to be that wife. So
I think in my situation it was. I mean, there were definitely huge red flags long before we were married.
Mm-hmm.
That I just ignored, and I've always been a really tough person, and I've always been this person that felt like I could handle anything, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that sort of made it to where it was like I would go inward and blame myself for things. And then, I chose to have baby. We planned baby.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was pregnant, it was just like I don't know what happened, but it just made it worse. Just like the floodgates open. And I mean, I certainly was not a perfect person, but it was, just everything was always my fault. He was just in a mood.
Yep.
Whatever it was. And I don't know. You probably know this about me. I have a little bit of a mouth on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not just going to take you saying some stuff to me. And, but I just slowly kind of watched myself not say anything.
Uh-huh.
Because I knew what
was coming.
Were going to be.
Yep. If you
and
did
then I
say
didn't even
something.
have to say anything. It was just like, I'm not even saying anything. And then he's mad because I'm not talking back. I'm not saying anything. Mm-hmm. And then I'm still getting it. And he, he was smart about it. He wouldn't hit me in the face. Mm-hmm. He wasn't putting bruises on my face. Things like this.
That was my ex-husband, my first daughter's dad. He would beat me, but the bruises were never where they would be exposed from my clothes. They wouldn't be on the exposed skin. Like he wouldn't leave bruises on my arms because he know my arms would show. Because I was still in high school. I ran away and got married when I was in my senior year in high school, and so he was smart. I would never have any bruises on my face, but I would be hurting like who knows what. I'll be wearing Bengay, and I was so embarrassed because some kids would be like, "What is that smell? It smells like Bengay, like my grandmother used." Because I was trying to hide my bruises, but it was so embarrassing and humiliating to hear people in class trying to figure out where was that scent coming from, and I'm sitting there knowing it was me.
Well, and the thing was that, we lived, at that time, I lived in New Albany, Indiana, and it's a small town, and, that's where we had gone to high school, and, he was this popular, cool guy, mm-hmm. That everybody liked, and he's the token black friend for a lot of groups, and I just felt like nobody was going to believe the stuff that was going on because, like, the person that he was at these parties and, these places we went was not
the person he was with you.
That I was dealing with at home.
Yeah.
And maybe when I was in labor actually all night with baby. I didn't know that I was in labor. I had indigestion so bad. I drank like a whole gallon of milk trying to get this heartburn indigestion to go away. I called the nurse line, and they said, well, come in the morning, and we'll check you, we'll see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so I had to take him to work that morning, and he was just mad because it's morning time, and he smokes a lot of weed, and he, hadn't smoked and was just in a pissed off mood, and the next thing I know, he's pushing me down in the hallway. I mean, mind you, I'm in labor. I don't even know I'm in labor.
What?
And I said, well, I've got to go to the doctor after I drop you off. And he's, angry because he can't take the car to work, and I've got to, drive him to work. So I drive him to work and go to the doctor's office, and they checked me, and I was 2 centimeters dilated.
Oh,
they
wow.
said, you're in active labor.
Wow.
And so, I got immediately admitted to the hospital because I have to have C-section. Mm-hmm. And, and he comes up to the hospital all hunky-dory, happy, like nothing happened that morning. And, everybody at the hospital is just loving him because he's just so excited about having this baby and everything.
He's so charming to strangers.
And he's a really small guy. He's only like 5'1". He just doesn't seem like this monster of a person.
Yeah.
And, and it was just like after I had her, she was about a month old, and he got mad, and I was holding her, and he slapped me so hard while I was holding her that I passed out. Wow. And luckily, he grabbed her before she hit the floor.
Wow.
But, this was going on for so long, and I was the primary breadwinner most of the time. Mm-hmm. And when she was about 4, we went to, well, first of all, he had put a bruise on her. Mm-hmm. And I was already planning, trying to figure out how I was going to get out.
Yeah.
And we went to a party, and she was sitting there. You know how Vivi is. She's very, she'll talk to people, especially adults. She's sitting there. She's just got this captive audience. And she said, well, my mommy isn't very smart. And, she's going on, she's talking about how I'm not smart to these people. Mm. And because that's what she's hearing from her dad all the time.
What?
And, right. Because he's telling me I'm stupid all the time.
No, ma'am. So she's repeating what she's hearing from him.
Right. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going, I was a gifted and talented student. I did this man's homework through high school, so he didn't fail out of high school. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not about to have this kid thinking I'm dumb.
Yep. And
that was just it. That was like the final straw.
That broke the camel's back.
And I had to, I planned it with my brother to move back home to Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And that's how I met Jake, actually.
Wow.
Because I was down with my brother planning, my move. And met Jake out at a little tiny trashy bar in Pascagoula, Mississippi.
What were you doing in a little trashy bar in Pascagoula, Mississippi?
Well, my brother frequented that place quite a bit.
Okay,
and so he wanted to go over there, and I said, I guess,
okay. So you were hanging out with your brother.
Yeah.
He was trying to cheer his baby sister. Is he older?
He's older.
Okay. He was trying to cheer his baby sister up.
Well, I don't know about that. I think he was trying to get drunk is what he was doing. But we pulled up, and I was like, what is this place? And we were walking up, and he and my brother actually were friends in high school. Jake and my brother.
Oh, wow. Small world.
And Jake actually thought that I was Mitch's girlfriend or something at first, because he'd never met me. Mm-hmm. And I just embarrassed myself. Like the first 35, 40 minutes that I was talking to Jake, it was just like verbal vomit. Like I thought he was cute, so I'm just, can't shut up. And he just let me go, that's how he is. He just let me go. And
I'm just like, sitting there looking like, she's into me. I know it. She's just talking. He's just eating it up.
The first thing I said to him, he said his name was Jake. And I said, oh, like Jake from State Farm? And I'm like, kill me now. Why would you say that? Horrible.
Not Jake from State Farm.
And he hates that show. He hates it so much. So I know I must have been hot then, because I
knew to keep on giving it to him.
It's horrible. And then he tried to buy me a drink. He said, what are you drinking? And I said, rum and Coke. And then I bought my own drink. And I was like, what are you doing? I'm thinking in my head the whole time, like, what are you doing? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I must have been hot.
You were flustered.
I'm just saying, he must have really thought I was hot. I don't know how I made it through that first meeting. Because it was a hot mess.
Jake, what's your take on the initial meeting? What were you thinking?
I thought she was, very interesting, and I just thought it was strange that her brother had mentioned her, but briefly.
Yeah.
And, no, I was really taken by Jackie, and never met anybody quite like her.
Yeah.
So, I like really unique things.
Yeah.
So we had to be together.
Yeah.
But I mean, my brother probably didn't mention me a lot because, Jake was a bassist in rock bands. Mm-hmm. So you already know. My brother was looking at me like, I don't know.
That's not for you.
And my brother had me on a pedestal,
Yeah.
I mean, I was his little baby sister, and I was up on a pedestal, and I was perfect, and nobody was ever going to be good enough for me.
Yeah.
So I don't think, he wasn't trying to really advertise to everybody
that you were available.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Not at all. Not at all. So, he kind of, I always joke that, I lucked out because he didn't think I was a complete idiot while I'm just, babbling like a crazy person.
Wow.
And he didn't get shot by my brother for trying to pick me up. So, it worked out for both of us.
Wow. So, y'all have been together for 9 years. No, your ex-husband. What was his name? DeMarcus. Okay. And
so yeah. And Jake and I have been married for 9 years.
We've been together for 9 years.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been together for 9 years, married for 8 years.
Okay.
So I've pretty much just been married since I was 23.
Girl, I've been married since I was 18.
Yeah.
I haven't had any freedom. I've been constantly married, going from one relationship to the, and that's part of the problem. I didn't have any time to be by myself and mature and do young adult stuff. I was constantly married. I became a mom before I was 19. I had my baby before I was 19. So I've been a mother as long as I don't know. I've been a mother for a long time.
Well, I did a little bit of, when Steve's dad and I, first separated, I went out on a few dates, but, to be honest with you, most men just give me the ick, as the girls say, and, we'd be halfway through the date, and I was like, oh, no.
Wow.
It doesn't take much for me to get the ick.
Yeah, I can tell. Okay, so both of your parents your dad has passed on, but your mom is remarried, and both of your parents are still alive and been married for 50 years, right?
Right.
Okay. So, do you guys have any? Well, I know your brother is the one who introduced you to Jake, who was his old schoolmate. So, do you guys have any other siblings?
I have an older sister that is 15 years older than me, 14 or 15 years older than me. that I don't really speak to. She was adopted while my dad was in Vietnam.
Okay.
So she didn't really grow up with us, you know. And then I had two older brothers that have since passed away.
Okay.
And Mickey and Mitch, and then an older sister, Amanda. And so the three of them had the same mom. And then myself, and then my little sister, Rosie. That's my mom's children with my dad.
Okay.
And then I have a stepbrother and a stepsister that are younger than me, Alex and Zach. So there's a lot of kids. My dad was kind of a, Rolling Stone, I guess you could say.
Yeah. But it takes all kinds.
Yeah, and I loved him very much, but he was definitely not a good husband. He was a good dad, not a good husband.
And that makes a difference. In a marriage, you need to be a good husband and dad.
Right.
Yeah. What about you, Jake?
I had a younger brother, and he had a disease called cystic fibrosis.
Okay.
He passed away in 1997 at the age of 16.
Oh, wow.
I was 18 at the time. So, he was a fantastic person, and heaven definitely gave him an angel.
Wow.
He was very intelligent, a fantastic artist.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
A lot of personality, charisma, all that.
Wow.
Since then, they've made great strides in handling the disease of cystic fibrosis. It seems like they can manage it a lot better and give a lot of people like full, complete lives now.
Yeah.
It's amazing, what God can do as far as, advancement.
Yeah, and that's the my story too, because I was born with a rare and undetected birth defect that had ran in my bloodline for generations on my mom's side, but all of them had that. Like my great grandmother died from a stroke, and when you had a stroke, they just automatically put stroke on your death certificate and left it at that. But all her sisters, we've had cousins, aunts, and all of them died from generations ago. But I was the lucky one to inherit that birth defect that ran on my mama's side of the family. And I had my brain stroke 7 days after I gave birth to Jean Michel. But they were able to save me because they recognized that it wasn't just a regular stroke. Because like you could have a stroke and a regular stroke and still live, but my stroke was due to a rare and undetected birth defect, and they traced that all the way back to my bloodline and told my husband, and that's what saved me, because they were able to trace it back to, it wasn't just a regular stroke. It was an arteriovenous malformation, which is a irregular cluster clump, like a ticking time bomb in your head.
Right.
And when I had her, I remember when I pushed her, gave my final push, I either felt or I heard a pop in my brain and a migraine headache, like out of this world. My head was just throbbing. And I had asked for something in the hospital. But in the hospital, they can't give you anything but Tylenol if you have a headache. So they kept giving me Tylenol, and my pressure was up. And they was like, I don't understand. I said, well, I told you my head's hurting. They said, well, all we can give you is Tylenol. I'm like, so I dealt with that until I was released from the hospital. And then right after we left the hospital, because I had her at Ashna on Jefferson Highway, the main campus. After we left the hospital, we stopped at CVS and got me some stronger headache medicine, some Advil. And I took those and I was popping those, and it was hard because I was trying to, my son's girlfriend had a baby and she was breastfeeding her baby. And I figured, okay, well, I'm going to try breastfeeding because I had never breastfed any of my kids because of the way I grew up. My mom was like, that is so animalistic. And I'm like, she said that's what they make bottles and formulas for now. So all of my other kids were bottle fed formula. And but I said with Zon, since she was gonna be my grand finale, that I wanted to try to have her naturally. And I did and got way more than I expected. But she's a beautiful baby. She came out, she was healthy. No concern, no issues. But I hate that Alex had to deal with the fallout. He had to deal with raising his only child, a newborn, by himself. And we had planned the pregnancy. I even talked him into it because he was like, no, I don't need any kids. But I wanted to give him a baby as a gift for helping me raise my other kids. And I apologize all the time, but he say, why are you apologizing? That wasn't your fault. I'm like, I know, but I still feel guilty for it. That's just the kind of person I am. Yeah. Right. So, but they found out it was something that ran in my blood. So it was totally unexpected due to a rare birth defect that I was born with.
Crazy.
Yeah. You just never know. So, like I tell people, a headache may not just be a headache, because I suffered with headaches from my childhood, at least from third grade, and my mom always blamed it on me not wearing my newly prescribed glasses. She said, "Oh, right. Your eyes just need to adjust to it. That's strain on your brain." So I was like, okay. Then by the time I got into middle school, it was like, okay, I got the glasses in third grade. You go to middle school, I was going to middle school in sixth grade. It don't take that long for people's eyes to adjust to their glasses. So right. I started self-medicating myself and taking headache medicine to get rid of, at least give me some relief from the pain. And so then come to find out years later, she rushed down here for my emergency surgery. Come to find out, when she went back to Houston, she found a neurologist that diagnosed she has one too. But she didn't have headaches like I did. And we have a younger cousin. Yeah, we have a younger cousin who also, she was going through the same thing that I was. And she was like, why? I don't understand. I don't ever hear other little kids say they have headaches. But she was going through the same thing I was. And her mom was like, just wear your glasses. Just wear your glasses. And come to find out, I told her, girl, you know what happened to me. You better go and find you a neurologist and have yourself tested, because you could have a ticking time bomb in your head. And she went and got tested, and she has one too. Crazy. Yeah. So, no, I tell people, a headache may not just be a headache. You need to get that checked.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so do you believe you guys had a normal childhood? Jake?
Me, no. I mean, I think growing up with a sibling with a terminal illness makes it a lot different, because it seemed like he was in the hospital a lot. So I spent a lot of time in the hospital, and they tried to make it as normal for me as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I tried to play sports and everything. I had neighborhood friends. I mean, in that aspect, it was normal. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents too. Yeah. Staying with my grandparents. Yeah. Which pretty much kind of raised me. So it's probably why I have it. Yeah. I'm not a little different, because I grew up around, older people. Yeah. Yeah. And, but all in all, it was good. My dad was a hard worker. Yeah. And I never needed or wanted for anything, Yeah. So I can say in that aspect, it was really good. And my mom was very caring and did the best she could,
Did your mom work? Or she couldn't?
She actually tried to. She tried to work at you remember K&D? We had K&D in Mississippi too. So she worked at that, which I think it became CBS after that.
Okay.
And she was kind of like a pharmacy clerk, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And, yeah, she tried to do that, but I mean, it was hard, you know.
Yeah.
With
your brother being sick.
Being sick all the time.
Yeah.
I think my childhood was definitely unconventional. But I mean, it's
Of
just
course,
I have a
Jackie.
million brothers and sisters. I mean, you know, and we, you know, I mean, like I said, I lived in a little bitty small town, and so when I was very young, my mom didn't work.
Okay.
My dad worked for the power company, and he was very cost conscious. We won't call him cheap. We'll call him cost conscious.
AKA cheap.
Yeah, and I mean he was really, you know, he was very old school. He was 12 years older than my mom.
That makes a difference too.
He was born in 1947.
Yeah.
So my dad was very much old school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I don't know. It was when I was very young. My brothers came to live with us. I want to say when I was in first grade, maybe. But my older sister stayed with her mom. Mm-hmm. And she would come on the weekends. But, you know, I mean, the house is always full of kids. And then my dad, I say he was cost conscious, but I was spoiled rotten by him. I mean, I was obviously the favorite. No child in our family denies that I was the favorite.
Wow.
It was a whole thing. I could get away with murder. My siblings could not. Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, I feel like I was very much blessed in that way. Everybody else was very like.
So you were the golden child.
Oh yeah.
That's
everybody else was super athletic, and I have no athletic skill whatsoever. I mean, my dad tried to put me in every sport because he coached my brother's teams, and you know that was his thing. And I mean, they put me in the outfield when I played t-ball, so that just tells you how bad. Like, you know how bad you have to be in the outfield.
I know, like, exactly.
Not you, real bad at sports.
Yeah.
But he was gonna foster our dreams, like no matter what we wanted to do. You know, so I was a singer and a dancer, and I did acting and all this. So he would take me around to auditions and took me to audition. He actually like talked this guy into letting me audition for the Mickey Mouse Club. Mm-hmm. And so we came to New Orleans, and I auditioned for Mickey Mouse Club, and I actually got in.
Oh, wow.
And I was at the auditions with Britney Spears, which is crazy.
Wow.
And, but she's a year older than me, and so when it came time for us to go in, they got my birth certificate, and I was a year too young.
Wow.
She got my spot on the Mickey Mouse Club.
No, ma'am. Get out of here. Yes. Britney Spears, the singer.
Yes. She got my spot, which I don't begrudge her that, because obviously it's the best thing for my life, because as you see what happened to her, yep. I feel like it's probably a blessing. My dad took me to audition for Star Search, so I was on like all the regional things with Star Search, and then I got my butt beat by LeAnn Rimes, which, again, I don't even really feel that bad about, because
LeAnn Rimes was,
I mean, she's clearly better than me. Yeah. Like, I'm like, okay, I can feel good about that. That's fine. So, you know, I mean, that was kind of unconventional, and then my parents got divorced when I was in fourth grade, between third and fourth grade, and it was a very messy, very bad divorce. Okay. And my mom was a very good mom in a lot of ways, but I feel like she was also kind of immature in some ways, because you know she got married young, and so she kind of leaned on us and like talked to us about her problems. And I remember I'm like 10 years old. I'm like, lady, I don't know what you do about your husband cheating on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
that's something that you don't share with a 10-year-old child.
Right, like I have no idea what to say to that, you know, and that's my dad also. So I'm just like, I don't know.
Caught in the middle.
Right, you know. But she met my stepdad, and my stepdad is, I have to say, a really, really good stepdad. I mean, we butted heads like crazy when I was young, but he is the most positive person I have ever met. I mean, I swear to God, if the world was ending tomorrow, he would find some kind of positive thing about it.
Wow.
Well, we're all going to heaven. I mean, you just, like, there is nothing that can get him down. He is such a jovial person. He will make friends with literally anybody. He knows people at the hardware store. He knows people at the donut shop. Like, everybody knows him.
So he's the norm of his town.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and they moved to Pensacola a few years back, and he has just done the same thing in Pensacola. He knows everybody. Everywhere we go. I'm like, how do you know all these people? I mean,
they really like him.
Oh, everybody loves him. I mean, he is such a funny, upbeat,
norm. He was the norm of wherever he is.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he is so funny. But, when I was young, especially when I was a teenager, he didn't have any kids of his own. So my little sister and I were it for him. Yeah. And, he comes into our lives, and I'm like 10, 11, and my sister was a little younger. She's a year and a half younger than me. And so, he hit me right at the time period when the kids are turning into complete buttheads.
Yep.
And so he did not get the best of me at a young age. And he's kind of old school, like my dad was.
Yeah.
And so, we got into a lot of fights when I was younger and everything. But now that I'm grown, I mean, my stepdad and I are like besties.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Like, I call him all the time. Like, I'll call him before I call my mom.
Wow. That's tight.
She gets so mad when we go to visit in Pensacola, because I'll go sit out in the garage with my stepdad and hang out. And her and my sister are like, you want to go to Target with us? And I'm like, absolutely not. I want to hang out with Steve. So, I mean, it was unconventional, but I feel like it was, it was good. Having older brothers.
Yeah.
It's always, I was always threatening somebody with my older brothers.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me call. Well, mostly.
Oh, you were one of those kids. I'm going to get my older brother on you.
You better believe it. And my older brother, Mickey, was the one. Because he was huge. I mean, I'm a little tiny person.
Yeah.
But my brothers were big. But Mickey was he was the one people kind of perceived as mean. He would come for you. And Mitch was too cool. He was a cool guy. And he wasn't quite as big as Mickey. Mickey really was serious about sports, so he worked out. Like, from the time he was like 14, he'd get all buff, and he was scary looking and everything. And Mitch was just too much of a jokester. He was a fun guy. Nobody thought Mitch was going to come beat them up.
It's like, I'm going to get you. No, you're not.
No, everybody's going to laugh. It's going to be a big funny time. But Mickey, if I dangle Mickey over somebody's head, that was a whole other thing.
Yeah.
People were not with it.
Why you mess with my baby sister?
Oh, he wasn't. You better believe. But they also, saying that they taught me how to fight. When I was a kid, my dad was in the Navy, and he was like in the forefront of the Navy SEALs, like before they were formed. He was kind of in the beginning of that, and so they all taught me how to fight. So I was pretty tough. And my brothers had a fight club, and they would bet little boys in the neighborhood money that I could beat them up.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, and I was beating all these little boys up. Oh, I was fighting all the time. They were making money. Hand over.
They were making. Would they share it with you? Would they give you any of the money?
Oh, yeah, no, I was getting a cut.
Oh, okay.
I was very business-minded. I was getting my cut. And this all the way down the street, his name was JoJo Bobo. And he was crazy.
Not JoJo Bobo.
Down there. JoJo Bobo. And he used to wear athletic shorts, no shirt, and some cowboy boots. And he comes down there and bets them, and he jumps up and Ninja Turtle kicks me right in the throat.
Whoa!
It took me out, and so they beat him up, because he kicked me in the throat. And so we go home, and I'm crying and stuttering and can't breathe. My dad's, what happened? And they said JoJo kicked her in the throat. So my dad calls JoJo's dad because he's furious. Like, what is your son doing, beating up my little girl? My baby. And his dad said, your sons are betting boys in the neighborhood. Oh my God! I thought we all got moving.
Oh my God! So
I had to wait until I was recovered from my throat injury to get my whoopings, but we all got whoopings.
You was their little bulldog. They were making money off of you fighting.
Oh, yeah, no. So it defended me, but also they were like,
using you.
And they knew I could handle my own business for the most part, But they were who's grown up with two older brothers. My little sister's a snitch, so, we didn't have her with us all the time.
Uh-huh.
Because she's a snitch. But, and she's definitely not, like, she and I could not be more different. So, we weren't super close.
Yeah.
But, we're very close now. I mean, we talk all the time and everything. But, I mean, of course, it's just really the two of us left.
Yeah. How did Mitch and Mickey die?
My oldest brother, Mickey, committed suicide in 2014. He had a severe struggle with drugs because he got a terrible football injury when he was in high school. Mm-hmm. And at that time, they were prescribing oxycontin to people like crazy.
Yeah.
Because they said it, wasn't addictive and all this. And so he got bad off the OxyContin, and then he'd gone to the methadone clinic for years, and he was taking Xanax recreationally. And,
wow.
So it just all came to a head, and I feel like Mitch, him and Mickey were so close. Uh-huh. And I feel like when Mickey passed, Mitch blamed himself a lot, and he'd always been a drinker, but he really kind of fell off after Mickey passed away, and he started getting into drugs and started doing heroin. I mean, it was just like really bad, and so he had actually started trying to detox. And I mean, there's a reason they send you to a hospital.
Yeah.
To detox from that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so he was going through his withdrawals, and he was really struggling, and he decided to drink because I guess he thought it would make it better. And he ended up having a heart attack and passing away. That was at the end of 2022. And Mitch and I were the closest. I mean, that was, we were just like the
peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we were kids who were always in trouble. Like, we were the ones doing stuff, Mickey was kind of quiet, kind of did his own thing. My little sister's snitch, so it was like, me and Mitch were the ones that were always out there getting in trouble, doing stuff we weren't supposed to be doing, We were always together, and, so that one was really hard for me. But, I mean, I think it was less than a year before Mitch passed away, my older sister Amanda passed away.
Oh, wow.
And she had been bad off drugs when she was younger, and her heart just gave out. I mean, she just...
Was it a heart attack?
Yes, she had just, I think she just did so much to her body.
It couldn't take it.
Years.
Yeah.
That she just couldn't take it. And, she was only about a year and a half older than me.
Oh, wow.
And, so yeah, I mean, 2022 was a rough year. I mean, I lost my sister Amanda, then I lost my Meemaw, and then I lost my brother at the end of the year. So, I mean, 2022 was just like...
Oh, wow. That's like...
Oh, yeah.
When my husband, he lost his dad. He lost his cousin first, then his dad, and then his grandmother.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot for 1 year.
Wow.
So,
it was like back to back. I felt like I should have just kept my black dress on, because it was like within a couple of weeks, 3 people had died.
It was definitely a very rough year. I mean, first my Meemaw was a lot older. I mean, my Meemaw was in her 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what my kids call my mama, Meemaw.
Well, my grandkids call me Meemaw.
Okay.
Well, the oldest one. The youngest one can't talk yet, really.
Okay.
But the older one called me Hee-Haw at first. And I was like, oh, no. I don't want to be Hee-Haw. It took me a long time to get her to say Meemaw and not Hee-Haw. that was rough, but also, you know, it's somebody that's a little older.
Yeah, you can accept it more.
Yeah, but you know, losing the younger of my two brothers when I lost Mitch, that was probably the hardest because you know we were really close. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Rosie and I, you know, that's my little sister. You know, we're kind of it.
Okay.
That are left, and, you know, so we may be very different, but we definitely, you know, have each other's backs.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Alex and Zach, your stepbrothers and sisters?
So they live in Tampa, or near Tampa, around Bradenton.
Okay.
And I mean, we talk periodically. I mean, especially my stepsister, but we were never really that close to begin with.
Okay.
Because my dad, you know, I was a lot older when my dad married their mom.
Okay.
And, you know, we never lived together or anything like this. But they're both police officers. Okay. Alex, my stepsister, is a police officer, I believe, in Sarasota. And my stepbrother, Zach, is a police officer in, I want to say, Bradenton, Florida.
Wow.
So, yeah, they live down there. And so, you know, periodically I'll kind of talk to my stepsister, but we were never really all that close.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you guys this. When you were little, as a child, what got you in trouble the most? Were you talkative or quiet, a liar or honest, selfish or kind-hearted, stubborn or easygoing, a bully or a nice kid?
What do you think, Jake? What got you in trouble the most?
Believe it or not, I was kind of a class clown. Kind of got in trouble. I really like to make jokes and have attention.
Yeah.
So I need to add, you know what? I'm going to have to add that onto my list. I didn't have class clown on here. Just like when I interviewed my cousin Tyona, Ty said that when I asked if who was the disciplinarian in their family, her mom, her dad, or neither, and she said no, her mom or her dad or both, and she said neither. That wasn't even an option on my list, so I had to add that. So I'm gonna have to. Okay, you were the jokester.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to add that too.
I think the thing I got in trouble for most, gosh, I mean, I don't know. I was always up to some random hijinks. I didn't ever really do anything that bad. It was just, I was, first of all, extremely talkative at school. So, I mean, I would get straight A's, but my report card would be like, talking too much.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm circling that.
All the time. I was definitely a defender of kids who were getting bullied.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I would say, I mean, it was always like random stuff I would get in trouble for. And it usually had something to do with either my brother or my cousin. Mm-hmm. Because we just, I don't know, we would come up with wild ideas. Like, my grandma lived in a subdivision, and they built another part of the subdivision behind her house. Mm-hmm. There were all these big dirt piles because we lived in Indiana at the time, and you know, every house got to have a basement.
Yeah.
So they did these basements. They had these big old dirt piles everywhere. And so there were two big dirt piles, and we decided to have a dirt fight. And
oh,
so
wow.
We were doing this for like a week. You know, we had all the kids in the neighborhood, and we're throwing dirt clods at each other. My sister got hit in a very sensitive spot, and we had to build a shelter for her because she was not good at it. And, you know, so we had this going on for like a week, and it was like the last day it started pouring down rain, and we were loving it. Mud, they're sliding down these big mud hills and all this stuff. Not even thinking about it. We go back to Grandma's house, and we are covered and caked in mud. I thought she was going to murder me. And I wasn't, I'll tell you, there were a couple things I did that put me off lying forever. Mm-hmm. Because I lied when I was in second grade. I used to get urinary tract infections and stuff all the time because I would just be too busy. I wouldn't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I kept holding my pee.
Yeah.
And my dad was just he is at the end of his rope because he would have to work third shift at the power plant a lot. And my mom was in school to be a nurse, so he'd have to take me to the damn doctor.
Oh, wow.
And so he was getting so irritated because, he had to wake up, take me to the doctor, and all this stuff. And finally, I peed my pants at school.
Oh.
And the doctor said, well, she's got a kidney infection now. My dad was just, you got to go to the bathroom, and you got to go when you need to be, all this stuff. And I started crying. I said, well, Daddy, my teacher won't let me go to the bathroom. She's mean and she won't let me go to the bathroom, which is a complete lie.
Oh, wow. So don't tell me he went up there and...
Oh, of course he did. I don't even know what I was thinking about because my dad was absolutely not going to let somebody mess with his baby. So he goes to the school, and I'm sitting in there like, oh my God. And the teacher says, well, Jackie, I'll let you go to the bathroom anytime you want. And I just want to sink into the floor.
Wow.
And he tore me up over that because not only was he mad about live, but I was lying, and I had him having to get up, take me to the doctor when he's been working third shift.
Yes.
Oh, no, I never lied to my parents like that again. I was like, I stole a stuffed Garfield when I was about 5. And I put it up under my dress because my mom wouldn't buy it for me. I loved Garfield. And so we walked out. Of course, she picks me up out the cart, and there's that Garfield, and she knew she didn't pay for it. She made me walk back in the store and give it back and apologize.
Oh, my God.
So embarrassed.
Oh, my God.
Still to this day, I'm so embarrassed. And so, when I was in high school, my little girlfriends would be, trying to steal nail polish from the Kroger and stuff like this. And they stole a nail polish from me because I wouldn't do it. And the next time we went to Kroger, I put that nail polish right back on the shelf because I was like, absolutely not. No, nothing.
I have, like you say, you stole a little Garfield. I have a story like that. We used to live down the street from, I believe it was Woolco. Did y'all have those in Mississippi? Well, they had these little dolls. It was like Barbie dolls, but then they had the Barbies with the babies. And I used to love the little brown baby dolls that had the big puffball hair. So I had asked my mama to buy it, and she was like, "No, you don't need any dolls." I was like, so next time we would go there a lot. So the next time we went to the store, I was like, I'm gonna get that baby. I'm gonna get that baby doll. And I had tore the package open and took the baby out, and I put it in my pocket or something. She didn't know because she was doing something else on another aisle. So we left the store, and when she found out when we got home, she was like, "Ree, where did you get that from?" And I was like, is that the doll that I told you couldn't have and you stole it? I was like, just looking like big-eyed, like, yeah, but I wanted it. But I had to pay for it, Ree. That means you stole it. So I think I got punished and I got a whipping, and she took it back to the store. I was like, oh my God, that was the worst.
For disciplinarian, my dad was he will whoop us.
Yeah.
He used to get the switch.
Yeah.
You have to go get the switch. And we had an azalea bush, so you can't find no good switch on the azalea bush. It's all like little whips. It ain't no good.
Maybe that's why he used the azalea bush.
But my mom was not big on that. And she was a psychiatric nurse.
Uh-huh.
I feel like she knew that was probably not. She had a lot better handle on what is effective without being traumatizing.
Yeah.
And so, but my mom was big on what I call public humiliation.
Oh my goodness.
Because she will embarrass you. She did not care. She will show up at a party. She will, and she will get you. She will talk in front of your friends. She did not care. She would come to the school because she definitely came to the school plenty of times. But she came to the school and sat in my class one time, and I was like, oh my God. So that was her thing. And she ground you and stuff, but she had a hard time with that because she tried to ground me, and I would just be in my room reading, and that just made her so mad. And she was like, well, I'm going to take your books. Well, I have like 1 million books. So she's like huffing and puffing and like getting sweaty and stuff, trying to get all these books. Finally, she said, whatever, put all these books back on your shelf. And I'm like, oh my God. So, that was a thing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, and Jake? Who was the disciplinarian in your family? Your dad or your mom?
My mom started it off, but always the finisher was my dad.
The grand finale?
It was always, just wait till your dad gets home.
Oh, not wait till your father gets home. You remember that cartoon? Wait till your father gets home?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what worked out.
And what type of punishment would you get? Would it be spanking?
I definitely got the belt. Okay. I mean, it didn't last for long. Just it was normal, but I got spankings.
Okay, spankings with belt. Cause I had my mom would shake us, like grab us by the shoulders and just shake us uncontrollably. And I was like, that was her go-to punishment. It's right. Like, what did I tell you? If I didn't get a switch or a belt, I was gonna get a shaking. And I was like, oh my God. I'd rather get the belt almost, because by the time she shook me up, I was dazed. So,
well, my granny got me with a switch one time. That's something you never forget.
Actually, my dad has never, I don't remember my dad ever whooping me. My mom was always the disciplinarian. And I got a belt, I got whippings with a belt, switches. Switch was mostly for my grandmother, but she was a switch lady. She'd go out there, and the worst though, she'd tell you to go get your own switch, and don't come back in there with a little flimsy switch. She'd make you go back and pick a thick switch. And I'm like, oh my God. So we learned real fast not to pick the biggest, but definitely don't get the smallest either. Pick a medium one.
Oh yeah, my granny would get us with a fly swatter.
Yep. A fly swatter.
A fly swatter. We used to call him the fly swatter man. He'd get you with the fly, but we didn't really mess around. My granny, he was real soft spoken. He was real funny with us, But we knew. He was a Marine, and you didn't mess around with my granny. So of course, I didn't get it much from him because I was kind of the favorite with my granny too. So
Wow, I'm gonna have to add that fly swatter.
Right.
Yeah, those Mississippi things. I got the fly swatter too, and also a slipper.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't get it that often, but I did. I have been hit with a shoe before. Wow. So that's another one I'm about to add. Slipper or shoe. Okay. What was you guys' most favorite memory from your childhood, and why?
You got one, Jay?
Yeah, I think it was we went to Disney World on Make-A-Wish when I was a kid.
Oh, for your brother?
Yeah, with my little brother.
Yeah.
We were flying to Orlando, and I turned. It was my birthday, and I was turned 7 years old on the flight to Orlando, and they were singing me happy birthday.
Oh wow.
And just the whole Disney World experience.
Yeah.
Because they just opened up Epcot Center, and it was really special.
Wow. And it was your 7th birthday?
Yeah, my 7th birthday.
Cool.
Let me see. All right, favorite memory when I was a kid. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it would have to be cheese. Probably when my dad took us boat.
Mm-hmm.
And we were out there, and I was harassing him, trying to get in the water and all that stuff. And finally, he's trying to make us fish,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have enough patience for that. So finally, I harassed him to the point where he'd let us go swimming, and he would take us, and we'd go kneeboarding and do all this kind of stuff. I mean, I loved that.
What is kneeboarding?
It's like water skiing, but you have a little like boogie board looking thing, and you're on your knees.
Okay.
So it's a little easier, as a kid. It's kind of hard to water ski.
Yeah.
And then we go tubing and do all that stuff. But just being out in the woods and out in the lake and all that with my brothers and my little sister and my dad, was definitely one of my favorite memories of being a kid.
That's cool. Okay. Who was your best friend in elementary school, and are you still in contact?
I had a couple of different best friends. One passed away, and then another one I talk to every so often, maybe once or twice a year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So my elementary, I actually went to a few different elementary schools because we lived in Mississippi and then we moved to Indiana. I went to like 3 different schools once I got to Indiana. But probably my most consistent friend from that era was Ashley Rose. She lived right across the cul-de-sac from my grandma. And I used to spend every summer with my grandma for about a month up in Indiana, even when I lived in Mississippi.
Okay.
And she and I were together all the time. I mean, joined at the hip. And we still talk every now and again. She's on, we're friends on Facebook. Of course, she still lives in Indiana.
Okay.
And then my other elementary school best friend was my friend Kelly. And we were in 3rd grade together. And she literally would throw her retainer away every day at lunch. And I was like, how do you do this? And I remember going through the trash can with her at lunch in the cafeteria trying to find her retainer.
She had braces in the 3rd grade?
Oh, Lord. She had an overbite like you wouldn't believe.
I'm like, dang.
So she had a retainer in the 3rd grade, and she kept throwing it away, and she'd be freaking out. She's like, yeah, it's going to kill me, and I have to help her find this retainer. And we were really close.
Now, you were a good friend.
Oh, I mean, we were best friends, and so we still are very much in contact. We talk all the time. She lives in Indiana, but she came down here to visit me, and I try to see her as much as I can if I go up there. And I mean, she and I have been together through everything. I mean, she had a baby. Her oldest son was very premature. He was 2 pounds 3 ounces when he was born.
Oh my God.
And so he was in the hospital for a long time. And so I was actually, working full time and everything. And I was going up to Indianapolis where she was living at the time every weekend. Try to help and try to be with her and everything. So yeah, we are very much still friends since the 3rd grade.
Wow. That's amazing, because not many people who friends that I had that I thought were good friends, even into adulthood, when I look back now, I'm realizing they weren't the friends that I thought they were.
Right.
Because of some things that happened, and instead of them defending me, they were laughing right along with the rest of the class at me.
Oh no, I mean Kelly was she was one of my bridesmaids when I married Jake.
No.
Yeah, so she's been very much by my side my whole existence since 3rd grade. I mean, I barely remember a time when Kelly Mallory wasn't. Well, she's Kelly Webb now.
Yeah.
But when she wasn't my best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what was you guys' favorite junk food in middle school? Jake?
I would say either Skittles or Starburst.
But candy?
Yeah, candy.
Fruit-flavored candies.
Fruit-flavored candy, yeah.
Well, fruit-flavored chewable candies. because they're not hard candies.
Anything taffy like or jelly bean.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, definitely fudge rounds. Still fudge rounds. Fudge rounds
forever. Fudge rounds?
Oh yeah, I love a fudge round. I had a whole thing in high school with fudge rounds. So yeah, I mean it's been.
What is that? Do they sell that here?
Yeah, they're Little Debbie. It's a Little Debbie, a fudge round.
Oh, why you didn't say Little Debbie's cakes?
Well, I don't like all Little Debbie's cakes.
Okay, but you could have said the Little Debbie's brand fudge rounds.
Right, yeah.
I was like, do they sell that here?
Yeah. No, I love
that. Okay. Hold on. What group were you a part of in high school? The populars, the cheerleaders, the jocks, the nerds, the creatives, the brainiacs, the choir, the drama club, or even the potheads? Jackie, you mentioned before that you ran track and have also done ballet. So how long did you run and dance, and did you do that in high school?
Well, I would say when I was in high school, I kind of hung out with everybody. Like, I wouldn't say I was one of the popular kids necessarily, but I kind of had a friend in every group.
Okay.
But I mean, I did theater, dance. I was in 2 different choirs. I was on the newspaper staff, the yearbook staff, the radio TV staff.
Oh, wow.
I ran track through middle school, but I kind of gave that up in high school because I just didn't have time for it. So yeah, I mean, I was very involved in things, and yeah, I mean, I had some friends that were just theater nerds. I actually did color guard a couple of years, in the band.
Oh wow.
So I had some band friends, I had my choir friends. I was on the dance team.
How did you do all this in high school? It was never a conflict of interest in the schedules?
Well, so radio, TV staff, yearbook staff, and journalism, the newspaper staff, those were all classes like during the school day.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do those, and then because I was in so many activities, I could cover those activities for the newspaper.
Okay.
Kind of while I was doing them,
okay.
And then radio TV, you only had to take a couple of shifts because we had a radio station and a TV station at my high school.
Oh, okay. This was the small town you were talking about where you grew up?
In New Albany, Indiana, and actually 88.1 WNAS. You can look it up on the internet and listen to WNAS.
WNAS.
Yeah, it's been going since the 20s, I think, 1927 or something. And so you would have to do a couple of radio shifts. You have to go in and work the radio station. So I did all that, and dance team was a thing. I kind of stopped taking my regular dance classes when I was in high school because I was doing that. Mm-hmm. And then choir, of course, during school day, and then we would have choir competitions and different things like that. Yeah. But I was very busy, and I also had to have a job. Because again, my stepdad is very old school, so I had to have a job. But I had 100 jobs because I would just work a job, and then when they wouldn't let me off for stuff, I would quit.
So you had the kind of, because I've had over 30 jobs, or I call them just over brokes.
Right. So I mean, it was just I just had to kind of work, try to do time management. But I mean, I definitely was a full time doing stuff. Person.
Yeah, you had an active high school life.
Yes. Yeah. I got to have a quick break. Let you talk to Jake for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay. Jake, what about you in high school?
Me, I graduated. I was in high school during the mid-90s. So I played bass guitar in the jazz band. Okay. And then I played in original alternative rock band. So I would say I was more part of the alternative rock crowd. Okay. More like a metal kid, like a rocker type.
Okay. Did you have long grungy hair and.
Yeah, I had the long, all one length hair and wallet chain and flannel shirt and all the things.
The nose clip.
No, I didn't do. I tried to do an earring, but for some reason my ear kept rejecting it, which is good. So I guess I never had an earring.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that was it.
And at what age did you get interested in the opposite sex?
What age should we get interested in what?
The opposite sex.
I think for me, I was always kind of a little bit boy crazy.
Uh-huh.
Even when I was little, I had little boyfriends. But I didn't really start dating or, really having like a boyfriend type thing until I was in the 8th grade.
Okay.
But I'm also bisexual, so I liked girls too, but I definitely did not tell anyone that. Especially not when I was, when I was in high school in the early, late 90s, early 2000s. You just didn't say that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really come out with that until I was much older. So yeah, that was always kind of confusing. But I would say I was always kind of a little bit boy crazy.
Okay.
Jake?
Yeah, I'd say I realized it like first grade. Like it was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was always into girls.
I could tell first grade is like, oh my God.
Yeah, I won't talk about him too bad, but I told you my brother was not super thrilled. He had a little reputation.
Oh my God. So, okay, and how old were you when you were allowed to start dating?
I think so. My parents let me go on my first quote unquote date when I was in the 9th grade, but they took us out to dinner. We sat at our own table, but they were there. And then we went to the movies, but they were there. So I didn't really date until I was probably 15, 16. What about you?
I don't think there was really an age on it, but I took a girl to the 7th or 8th grade prom or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I'll call it there.
Wow. And was she a girl that you had a crush on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just thought she was cute. I think she was in my class.
So you asked her?
Yeah.
Okay. Or was it like the Sadie Hawkins dances that the girls reverse? Okay. All right. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I kind of went through a few different things. For the most part, when I was little, I thought I was going to be an actress.
Okay. Hello?
Being an actor and being the president was totally a thing you could do.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that was kind of my thing.
What are you talking about? Trump was just president.
No, I'm talking about when I was a little kid.
Okay.
So I definitely thought that was a thing. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just be an actress and then I'll be the president of the United States.
Well, obviously that was his dream too.
Right.
Jake?
Me, I don't know. I went through a bunch of different things.
What was the main thing you stuck with for the longest, I'll say?
Probably I thought about being a pharmacist.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of one of the things I
And what interested you in that?
Money.
It was just one thing. We're changing locations.
Okay.
So, all right. Okay, we're together again.
Okay. And did you actually attend college after high school or take up a trade at a higher level?
So I went to the University of Louisville right after high school. But then, I did get pregnant with my oldest daughter, Chloe, while I was in college. And so I started out as a political science major. And because I had a baby, my mom is ever the realist, was like, what are you going to do with a political science degree that's going to take care of your baby?
Mm-hmm.
And that's fair. So then I went to Sullivan University, and I went to night school while I worked, and I got my bachelor's degree in paralegal studies.
Okay. Interesting. Jake?
Yeah, and then I went to community college a couple different times, and then I decided that I would do the IBEW-NJATC apprenticeship for electrical work.
Okay.
Electrical workers, and I did the 5-year apprenticeship, and then the subsequent years following as a journeyman.
Okay. Cool. So now, in case we have any electrical problems in our house, we know who to call.
That's what I do.
So you doing homes too?
I still do electrical work, yeah.
Okay. But no, I'm serious. That's a good contact to have.
Yeah.
Yep. Where are we? Okay. I don't know this answer myself, but you both have said you've already been married before.
Yes.
Okay. And would you mind sharing how, and I love absolutely love hearing a good love story. So would you mind sharing the story of how and where you two met?
Well, we talked about that a little bit. We met at the Celtic bar in Pascagoula.
World famous Celtic.
It's actually called the world famous Celtic.
Not the world famous Celtic bar.
It's more delusional. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a little bit hole in the wall bar in Pascagoula.
Pascagoula.
Yeah, but I think I realized. It's funny because really, I told you, men give me the ick. Just immediately. Just give me the ick. And I really liked him. And so, normally when a guy talks to me at a bar, I'm basically a menace to society. I am not. I'm mean. I'm not. Don't talk to me. I don't want to be talked to.
Yeah, leave me alone.
And so when he was talking to me, and here I am looking like an idiot, and my brother was looking at me like, "What in the hell is wrong with you?" Because he's expecting me to say something mean, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh God, here she goes," and then I'm just falling all over myself.
Got goo goo eyes.
Which is crazy, but I remember, I left the bar with my brother, and he was, I drove us home. He is 3 sheets to the wind.
Wow.
And Jake texted me, he messaged me on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing, but, would it be okay if I came over to your brother's and hung out?" And I was like, "Well, my brother is very drunk and has a gun, so I don't know if that's a really good idea." And he was like, "Oh, no, me and your brother are friends from high school." And I was like, "That doesn't make it better." Actually.
Because I still don't know you.
That probably makes it worse. But finally I kind of said, "All right, look, if you want to come over, I'm going to watch Spartacus." Because I had to actually catch a flight at 6 o'clock the next morning to go back to Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I never go to sleep. If I have a 6 o'clock flight, I have to be at the airport at 4 in the morning, so there's no point in going to sleep. So I'm like, I'm going to just stay up all night and watch Spartacus. So if you want to come over here and just watch Spartacus, you can come over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because if my brother wakes up and you're out here trying something, I don't know if I can vouch for your safety.
Yeah.
And so he was brave enough to come over, and we just talked all night. And I talked, and he mostly listened.
Mm-hmm. Like now.
And then, yeah. And then I did kiss him. But I got a little carried away because I was like on his lap, you know, and I'm like, okay, no, this is not good. I can't be doing this. But I'm super awkward. And I know I don't really seem awkward, but I am. And so I didn't know what to do to, like, get myself kind of out of it. Yeah. So I ended up, like, sliding down his legs, like, it was a slide. And then I'm, like, sitting on the floor like an idiot. And I'm like, oh, my God, this man is disgusting again. I mean, just a comedy of errors was the first meeting. But it was funny because he messaged me the next morning and he said, hey, you know, I hope you had a good flight home and da-da-da-da-da. And I had missed my flight.
Wow.
Because my brother was very hungover. And so I had missed my flight. I said, well, actually, I didn't go anywhere. I'm still at my brother's house, and he doesn't have any coffee, and I'm mad, you know, because he doesn't have any coffee. And he said, well, why don't I come over and I'll take you to go get some coffee? And I said, oh, yeah, you know. And so we drove around and drove around for hours. And I'm like, where is the coffee shop? Because, you know.
Oh, y'all hadn't got the coffee and was driving around that long?
He's trying to act like he don't know where the coffee shop is. Like he hadn't lived in Pascagoula his whole life. You know damn well.
Y'all don't even have a Starbucks in Pascagoula?
No, we don't.
No?
We had to take her to Biloxi, which was...
He could have taken me to Ocean Springs. There's one in Ocean Springs that's closer. There is a coffee shop.
Oh, my God.
Pascagoula. It's just not Starbucks. And there's a little coffee shop in Gaucher, which would have been closer. No. He drove me to the Hard Rock Casino in Biloxi.
Why the Hard Rock Casino?
Because it was the furthest away. Keep me in the car longer. And so I got my coffee eventually.
Okay.
And then he was, you know, asked me if I wanted to have dinner that night. And he said, well, I'll make you dinner. And I'm like, okay, you know, because I don't know. I'm like, all right, you know. And I said, you're going to cook it? He's like, yeah, I'm going to cook it. He's like, you can come with me in the store and we'll get stuff and you can pick out what you want, whatever. And I'm like, okay. You know, I'm really thinking he's full of it at this point.
Yeah.
But he came to pick me up and I was so nervous. I was wearing this sheer, like, button-up shirt and it's meant to have this little camisole that goes underneath it. And my brother kept looking at me crazy before I left the house. And I was like, why is he looking at me like this? And I get to the grocery store, and I'm walking around. Everybody at the grocery store is, like, staring at me. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And I looked down, and I had forgot to put that camisole on.
Ooh.
So I'm out here in a bra.
with a cover-up. Like it's a swimsuit cover-up.
I mean, in the grocery store in Pascagoula, get looked at like I'm just a Jezebel. But he made me an amazing steak dinner with asparagus and baked sweet potato, and he is a fantastic cook. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna marry him.
Yep. That's gotta do it.
That's kind of how I got started.
Yep. Wow. That's kind of that's really kind of how you know you met your person. If you can totally embarrass yourself when you're with them, because me and Alex had one of them moments. We went to the Galleria in Houston, because we both, we met in art school in Houston. And we decided to go to the Galleria Mall, which isn't far from the Art Institute. We weren't in school at that time. We were, because he moved back here he's originally from Metairie. No, from Metairie. He was born in Metairie, but he had came up to live up there to go to school. We graduated. He moved back home, couldn't find a job here, so he moved back to Houston. And we were out as friends, just hanging out. I'm calling myself, giving him the tour of Houston. And we went to the Galleria. And I was so embarrassed because I hadn't realized this, but the escalators were shut down. So the stairs, how they normally go up, they weren't going. No, I started walking on the one that was coming down. It hadn't clicked that this one is going down, not up. So I'm, steady trying to walk up. And he grabbed Mom. He's like, Ree, that's the wrong one. I was like, huh? When I look back, I could have died. I was like, no, no, no. So, but I'm like, here I am trying to give him a tour, and I'm embarrassing myself at the biggest mall that they had at that time in Houston, and I'm walking up an escalator the wrong way and can't figure out what's wrong.
Well, I mean, Jake also got to see live and living color my brother's, our whole situation, because my brother forgot that I was getting divorced from Dee Dee's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was so drunk and everything. And I'm at Jake's, having our dinner and all this stuff, and he's texting me and acting crazy. And he's like, I'll put your stuff out the house and all this stuff. And I was like, what? And so I was like, no, you gotta take me to my brother's house right now. Because he is wilding out. And I have a Prada suitcase, and my Prada suitcase
was on the ground, on the floor?
On the ground outside the house in Pascagoula. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, man.
So we get over to the house, and my brother and I are just going at it. And I ended up beating my brother up in the front yard, and Jake's just standing there like, what is going on? So, I mean, like, I don't know whether to be scared or
exactly.
Like, what's up? So I was like, well, this is me. So
it's definitely an exciting night.
It sounds like it. So how long did you guys, when y'all finally started dating, how old were y'all at the time?
When I was, let's see, Jake was 36, so I was 32.
Okay. And how old were y'all when y'all got engaged?
We got engaged that year. We got engaged, I want to say we met in April, and we were engaged by June or July.
Wow, met in April? And that's a quick, so what made y'all do it that fast?
I mean, I think at the age we were, it was just like, why, do we really want to play games?
Yeah. Like, you know what you want, and you know what you don't want at that age.
What are we going to do? Stay together and then break up and get together and break up? Do all this dumb stuff you do when you're in your 20s?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Y'all were much older. Yeah, that makes a difference.
Jackie just started planning the wedding, and I went along with it.
Oh, he's full of crap. That did not happen. Although I did tell him, he actually asked me to marry him long before I got the ring. Actually, I was going to marry him in May. And I said, he said, would you want to marry me? And I said, yeah, I want to marry you. And I was moving to Mississippi, and I had originally planned to get a house, get myself a little place, and, I had all these plans with my brother. And, then I met Jake, and Jake was like, well, do you want to move in with me? And I was like, yeah, and he lived in my hometown. He actually lived in Hurley. Yeah. At that time, and Demi and I mean, he took to me right away, and so I was like, yeah, So I moved in with him, and we moved Dee Dee down, and, I'm kind of waiting on this ring, and I was like, I didn't move down here to be your girlfriend.
Your living girlfriend.
And he bought my ring, like, that day.
Okay.
Because he was like, oh, yeah, we need a ring. I was like, yeah.
Okay.
So,
that was in May?
That was probably July when he bought my ring.
Okay. So y'all met in April, got engaged in July, and then when did y'all actually get married?
The following March 18th.
Wow.
2016, yep.
Cool. Okay, and y'all had a wedding?
Yes.
Was it a big wedding?
Actually, yeah. Jake, he had been married before, but he was really young, and they didn't have, like, a big old, to-do.
Yeah.
And, I knew this was going to be, my real marriage. This was going to be my for life.
That makes a difference because that's what me and Alex did. I had never had a wedding before. My first husband, we eloped and got married. My second husband, we flew to Vegas and got married in a little chapel in Vegas. And when I met Alex, I was like, okay, you gonna be my forever man, my forever person. So we need a real wedding. When we had a big wedding, and I loved it because everybody pitched in, and it was a lot of stuff we saved money for. People donated to us because of their love for us. They just like we didn't have to pay. Well, we paid for a photographer. I had to buy my dress. He had to pay for his tux. But like our cakes, they were donated by two of my friends that I worked with, and the flowers were done by my mom. The food was catered by my aunt on my dad's side. So it was like, and the DJ was one of his friends. So everything was covered basically. Yeah.
Right.
So
we got married at the History Museum of Mobile in Alabama.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. It's an old Art Deco building. It used to actually be the City Hall.
Okay.
In Mobile. And after Katrina, they built a new City Hall and they renovated that building to become the History Museum. And it's beautiful in there.
Okay.
And we were supposed to get married in the courtyard, but of course, it's the Gulf Coast in March.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of raining and spitting on and off, and so we moved it up into, they had this big hall, upstairs. And so we got married there, and we had a big reception. We had a snowball stand at our reception.
Oh, wow.
And there's a place called Soul Heaven in Mobile, Alabama. It's amazing. If you're ever driving through Mobile, you gotta go to Soul Heaven.
Mobile.
And this little woman runs it. She's amazing. And we had fried chicken and waffles and fruit salad. I think there was another sign, I can't remember.
So it's a restaurant. Soul Heaven is a restaurant?
Yes.
Okay.
And they do catering. But you can go in there and get plate lunch and desserts and all kinds of stuff. I mean, It's really traditional Southern food, soul food. I mean, it's amazing. And that little lady was the sweetest. She actually made us up both a to-go box because she said, well, the bride and groom don't ever eat at the wedding.
Yeah, and that's true because we didn't. So my aunt packed us plates to go to the hotel.
Yep, and we stayed in the Admiral Hotel that night in downtown Mobile. And then we had a whole situation the next morning because my maid of honor was my friend Hillary, and I had a man of honor, actually, my friend Jonathan. And they came down from Louisville. And they parked in this parking lot across the street from the Admiral Hotel. And Jake had parked our car across the street over there. And we didn't realize Sunday morning that's the church parking lot. So they towed our cars.
Oh, wow.
So the morning after our wedding, Jake is going with Hillary and Jonathan, who are both from the city. Yeah. They don't know nothing about the middle of the country. They're in Bayou LaBatry, Alabama.
In the backwoods.
Oh, my God. At the worst possible place, trying to get these cars out. I mean, it was just crazy. So yeah, I mean, we had the big wedding, and my mom did we didn't have flowers. We all carried these feather fans. Well, I had a bouquet. My mom made it. It was a brooch bouquet. It actually had a bunch of brooches and things on it that were like my grandmother's, and had my granny's marine pin and all this stuff. It's beautiful. And she made feather fans for all of my bridesmaids. And BB and Demi carried big magnolias. They were junior brides.
Oh, wow, that's cute.
They were cute.
Is Demi your only child, Jake?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's adorable. I love her. The other day when they were in the performance the other night at Tulane, Demi is the one that did Zon's makeup, her lipstick, and her lips were popping. I was like, wow. She said, Demi did my lipstick. I was like, wow, she did a great job. It looks professional. So you guys might have a up and coming professional beauty makeup artist on your hand.
Yeah, she does a good job, that's for sure.
She does. Yeah.
Bibi and Demi both are really great at makeup. Demi is better at hair, actually, than makeup. But she does a really good job. Yeah, Bibi's been able to do like a professional looking winged liner since she was like 9 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're both really into that.
Okay. Wow. So, speaking of Bibi and Demi, what are their interests? I know Bibi is she does modeling. Well, she does pageants, and in addition to ballet, and you mentioned before that she plays piano.
No, violin.
Violin. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. So Bibi plays violin.
Mm-hmm. And Demi, she actually does modeling. She was in Acadiana Fashion Week last year, and this year she's going to try out for New Orleans Fashion Week.
Okay.
And she is a flag twirler. She twirls flags with the marching band at school.
Okay.
So that's kind of her little thing. And then they both do ballet and modern, with Nova.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And your grandbabies, your older daughter Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
How old is she?
She will be 22 at the end of July. And she has 2 little babies. My grandson, Junior, just turned 1 back in March.
Okay.
And my granddaughter, Amara, turned 2 on New Year's Eve.
Oh, wow.
She's 2 now. Yeah, she's a hoot.
Not a hoot.
Oh, she's crazy. She does crazy stuff. She's so funny. When they were living with us for that little while, I had put her to sleep, or I thought I put her to sleep, and I'd fall asleep on the couch because I was trying to keep her asleep, so Chloe could sleep.
Yeah.
And she walked up and slapped me right across the face.
What?
And scared me to death. It was midnight, and I'd jump up, and she goes, "Oh no, are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. You just slapped me in the face."
What was your reaction? You wanted to hit her back?
Oh no, I know. I thought, no, it scared me more than anything. It didn't really hurt, I mean, she wasn't even 2 yet. It just scared me, woke me up.
Okay.
And then when she said, "Oh no, are you okay?" I just started cracking up because she just wanted me to be awake.
Yeah.
And
was trying to get your attention.
Yeah, but she is just a funny little thing. And on Mother's Day, I talked to her and I said, "It's Mother's Day," and she said, "Oh, I love Mommy's Day."
Yeah. And how old is she now?
She's a little over 2. She's 2.5.
Okay. Wow. So, I remember when they were here and we saw you guys at the Lion Center. And you took them to the playground with your daughter when y'all were bringing Bibi and Demi to practice. Yeah. But okay. Do you guys happen to know what your love languages are? Words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, acts of service, or quality time? And do you practice them regularly?
I would say mine is acts of service and physical touch.
Most men is physical touch.
Mine is all of them.
You know what? I had my interview with our pastor and his wife Teresa. Teresa's all of the love languages, all of them are hers too. And he vouched for it. He was like, "Yeah, all of them are hers." And I'm a busy man. I was like, "Yeah, you sure are."
I think it's hard to, I mean, with the kids, with work, with everything goes on, sometimes it's hard.
Yes.
To always practice those things. I mean, especially like, acts of service for Jake. I mean, like, he likes to have the house clean.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes him feel, it's not like a, man thing, like, oh, my wife needs to have house. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes him calm.
Yep.
For things to be in order.
Yeah. My husband is like that too. Y'all have a lot in common.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do try to do that. I think, he says physical touch, but I am annoying because I have two older brothers, and so growing up, I mean, we messed with each other all the time.
Yeah.
We clowned each other. We would physically, play fight, do all, wrestle around, do all this stuff, and he cannot, I am constantly driving him crazy. I'll get on him and mess with him, and he's like, why are you doing this? Because I'm annoying about it. And, so I mean, that's just kind of our differences, in how we grew up.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like that play fight stuff, and, growing up, he wasn't supposed to be all physically, hurting somebody.
Yeah, especially a girl.
Well, and not only that, but, he had to be careful with his brother.
Yeah.
And he's always been tall and bigger than everybody, so, it's like, when you're a larger person, it's always, watch what you're doing, you got to know your own strength, and, all this kind of stuff. Whereas I've always been, like, a little tiny person, so I'm like a little gnat. I can't really, I'm not hurting my brother, certainly.
Yeah.
Losing Mitch was harder in a lot of ways because we were so close. But Nikki, because it was the first time somebody in my generation.
Yeah.
And then because it was a suicide, it was so shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, it was just shocking. It was really hard to grasp. And then I didn't have a good support system with her, because Phoebe's dad was not helpful. I mean, if anything, he made it worse.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, he accused me of cheating on him the entire time that I was at my brother's funeral.
Yeah.
He was texting me and acting crazy with me. I'm like, I'm literally at my brother's funeral. Like, the last thing on my mind is trying to cheat on you. I mean, it was a nightmare. And then I got back, and he was making fun of my brother and calling him weak, and saying, well, he's weak because he committed suicide. And I mean, it was just like,
what?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a horrific. I mean, I really was not allowed to grieve because he felt the way he felt about that, and used it against me, used it to hurt me, because that was, what he was about.
Yeah.
And trying to keep me down.
That's always the way.
Right.
Insults and whatever they can do to bring you down.
So that was like just such a breaking point.
Yeah.
In my life. But even though that was probably one of the worst years of my life, it turned into the catalyst for me getting out of that situation.
Yeah.
So I still have to be grateful.
Yeah.
For that terrible year.
Because it takes all experiences to make you who you are today. The woman you are today.
I wouldn't have met Jake, because I wouldn't have been in the process of planning this move.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's just like one thing. It's like one unending thread, and you have to go along the thread to get to the next, the next stage. It's like things just fall in place, but there's not a straight line. It's a lot of zigs and zags, and like I say, it's more like a thread than a straight line or a plank, a board. So you just have to go with the flow. Yeah. No matter how much you plan, it don't always work out like you want it to. Yeah. I missed the question. What do you do to further educate yourself into in addition to reading? Listening to podcasts, attending church, Bible studies, seminars, workshops, etc.
I think for both of us, going to we've had different Bible studies and different things at our church.
Okay.
That I think we've both really benefited from, and learned a lot.
Okay.
And then me personally, I do a lot of random research because like, I'll get into something, or I'll be watching a show, or I'll be reading something, and I'm like, I'll go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
right? Like,
that's me.
Right, like I'm reading about, if I'm reading about like Tudor history, next thing you know, like I'm going down the rabbit hole of like, when did this happen? And when did this, all that kind of stuff.
That's
so,
me. When I get on the, it's like going, like you say, like going down the rabbit hole. I start searching for one thing, and before you know it, I'm off on this other whole nother area. It's like, how in the world did I get here? And hours have passed, and I hadn't noticed. It's like, oh my God, that's a problem.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. What do you guys do for self-care to take care of your mental health?
Jake, do you have anything?
No?
I do a lot of praying.
Okay.
For my mental health.
Okay.
When I'm feel overwhelmed, I definitely pray a lot.
That's good. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Take it to God.
And I think, for me, Jake always laughs at me because he calls it my rituals.
Mm-hmm.
But, I do things a specific way.
Yeah.
Because it keeps me straight. Like, in the morning, when I wake up, I got to get the kids up and get them ready for school.
Mm-hmm.
It's summer.
It's called a routine.
Right, but I don't like, but he calls them rituals because I'm stuck in them. Like, I can't,
Well, in that case, all women are. All good mothers are.
I get my coffee and I watch the CBS morning news.
Yeah.
And it's like I get myself ready for my day. Mm-hmm. But I am big on an Epsom salt bath and reading in the bathtub.
Wow.
Like, that's where I get away from everybody. Don't talk to me. I'm going in here to read my book in the tub.
Uh-huh.
And I am desperate for one of those little things that goes on your tub that holds your book.
Oh, one of the little trays that sit across the...
Yeah. Yes, I need a book tray thing.
So, the tub in your bathroom isn't attached to the wall? It's freestanding?
No, it is, but you can find ones that will work with a tub that's up against the wall. So that's what I really want, because that's my little time for me. Okay.
All right. Okay. And let me see. Our personal failures can teach us a lot about ourselves and whatever it is we're trying to do. What was your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
What do you think, Jake? Or you want me to go first?
No, you go.
So I think that my biggest failure was basically staying in the abusive relationship I was in while Chloe was little. Because that just had such an effect on her.
Yeah.
And, I see the results of it. And so the mother that I have been to Dee and Demi
mm-hmm.
is 100 times the mother.
Yeah.
That I could be to Chloe.
Yeah.
And so with that, I do feel proud of what I've done and what I've accomplished with Dee and Demi, but mm-hmm. there's always that residual guilt.
That you couldn't do it for her? For your older child? But that's just it. You can't blame yourself for it, because I'm in the same situation with my older children.
I was 19 when I had her.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like I had the maturity.
Well, you didn't. You were 19. You were a kid.
Right.
You weren't even 20. It was the same thing when I had my first baby. And it wasn't much different when I got married, but second time, and had the other two kids. Because it was like, I didn't have time to grow and be my own person. I was constantly somebody's wife and somebody's mother. And you need some time between going from your childhood to being a young adult to being free and being an adult, not having any responsibilities and doing just whatever you want to do within reason. But I mean, when you don't have that, that's the backlash that will come from you not having that experience. Because I'm living that right now with my older kids. They blame me. They hate that they didn't have the relationship with me that I have now with John.
Right.
So it's like, but I'm not the mother now with Zon that I was with them, and I can't help that. I've matured. Right. So I wasn't the mama then that I am now, and I don't think I should have to apologize for that.
Well, I'm big on apologies. I mean, I do feel, I feel like I was, when you're wrong, you're wrong, and there was a lot that I feel like I could have done differently and should have done differently.
Yeah.
But just, it's like sometimes sometimes admitting that and just saying, look, I am sorry for that.
I have.
And I would change it if I could.
Exactly.
And that has helped our relationship a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Because, for a lot of years she had a lot of resentment, and she rightfully so, and I can give that to her.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's me.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jake.
My biggest failure. So many things.
Your biggest failure. So it can't be that many things.
No, I mean, I just don't know. I guess I don't know. I'd have to say the years I spent like mistreating my body, probably through the years I played music and such.
Okay.
I probably could be in better health today. That's my personal fault.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of health issues now?
Yeah, probably they could have been avoided, like high blood pressure.
Yeah. Does that run in your family? Because a lot of things.
Yeah, but I think I exacerbated it by.
Okay. Your lifestyle.
Alcohol, drugs, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm gonna ask you guys some questions. The realities from the past where you just knew that God had been involved because your situation changed. Something from the past 3 years of your life.
So I think from the past 3 years of my life, I spent a lot of time being fearful of Bibi's dad, and
okay.
I've had custody of, she's lived with me forever, since we moved. And, there was a lot of, like, she had to be there every single school break, every single, the entire summer, 2 months of summer. We couldn't go on vacations, we couldn't do things, like when we took them to Disney World, like, they had to take a week off of school because he wouldn't let me have spring break to take her to Disney World, and she was missing a lot.
Yeah.
Things were happening, she was missing her ballet intensives, and I mean, I think that I had to spend a lot of time in prayer, and it was that summer that she missed intensives, and she had to re-audition for the pre-professional program.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, because if they don't go to at least one intensive, they have to re-audition.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, they do.
And
Noble be on it. They don't play that.
And it was heartbreaking, because she got to go to Demi's little recital at the end of the intensive.
Yeah.
And she cried. She was beside herself upset. And, she really, that year of dance was a struggle for her. And I just watched her struggling with this. And it was like, she can't change this. She can't stand up to him and say, no, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Or no, I want to see my friends some in the summer. I mean, because that's such an important part of those years of your life.
Yes, it is.
And so it was like last year, I just kind of said no. Like, I'm not going to let you do this to her because it's all power play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, but it really took that strength that comes from above.
Yeah.
I mean, to really bust myself out of that way of thinking and say, no, she's got her ballet intensive. She's got all this stuff she's got to do for school because she's going into advanced math.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to see her friends.
Yeah.
She wants to be here for certain things. And she doesn't need to be there for 2 months in the summer.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be there for 2 months in the summer. And I'm not going to make her do it. And, he threw a fit. He pulled all his old tricks. I'm going to come down there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I said, all right, well, let's see how the NOPD treats you. I mean, I just finally had the strength to call his bluff and to say, you know what? Okay, fine. Well, I'm going to take you to court. Okay, fine.
Yep.
Because it was like, I just knew, and I was in my heart, I was like, you know what? God got me.
Yeah.
And I have done what I have been supposed to do
for
the last years. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I've worked hard. I've worked through this. I go to church every Sunday. I teach Sunday school. You know what I mean? It's like I'm doing all the things, and God knows I've done everything for these kids. And it was just like that fear just left me.
But you know what? Fear is the devil. Fear is the gift from the devil. God didn't give us a spirit of fear.
Right.
So the devil was pulling the strings as he had your heart all upset and worried about what was going to happen if you didn't, let him do this or let him do that. It's like, please, he was having his way with you, him and the devil.
And that's the thing is that, she's lived down here for 9 years. He has come to visit her once.
What?
In 9 years, one time has he got on a plane, and he didn't get on a plane, he had to drive because, he's got to bring his weed. And,
oh my God.
Came to see her once in 9 years. It's like, you're not even putting in the effort. And I was bringing her to him. I was paying the money to drive 12 hours to...
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I didn't know that. I thought he was paying for it.
No, and he doesn't pay child support. He don't do any of this stuff.
Jackie, no.
Yeah.
No.
Because I had to agree to not getting child support and him claiming her on his taxes every year in order for me to be able to move with her. That was his conditions. I could move her down if he didn't have to pay child support, and he could claim her on his taxes every year. And it's
hold on.
Because I didn't want to fight with him anymore. I had to get out. I had to get out of the situation. I had to go. And I just said, have it. I can't do it. I cannot do this anymore. And I did not want to sit around in Louisville, Kentucky and fight with him in court for years or however long he was going to drag me through it.
No, ma'am.
And I said, no. I said, fine. Have it. And so, here we are this year, and I told him, I said, she's got freshman institute, she's got all these things in June coming up for high school, she's got her ballet intensive and everything, she can come in July.
Yeah.
And he said, 7 months is a long time because he hasn't seen her since Christmas. But yet, I said to him, well, look, you can come down anytime you want. She gets out of school on May 14th. You can come down, you can hang out with her, you can take her where she's got to go, whatever. And her graduation happens on May 14th. And
did he come for the graduation?
No. And do you know where he was 2 days later?
Where?
Miami with some woman. And
so he's still not what do you call it? He's still not stable. In a stable relationship.
Oh, absolutely not. So I mean, it's just like, the whole thing is it's not about her. Because the reality is, you didn't send her a card, you didn't send her a Venmo, you didn't send her a gift, you didn't even call her and say happy graduation, congratulations. But you're spending your money and you're having a ball and balling out of control with some woman in Miami, and it's like, well, okay.
Wow.
And it just further cements that thing that's like that fear I had all those years is ridiculous. Because the reality is, he doesn't want the responsibility.
No. Most guys don't. Most men don't.
He sent her a birthday gift one time.
And that's supposed to last her forever.
You know, so it's just like, okay, you know, what he wants is for me to be in a situation where I'm having to take her back and forth. He can try to see me. He can try to, you know, get to me some kind of how. Mm-hmm. You know, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's not about the child. It's about you.
It's about getting at me.
Yeah.
It's about hurting me. And he'll hurt her to get to me.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You know, yes, ma'am. He didn't care that she's missing her ballet intensives and she's going to have to re-audition and go through all this stuff.
No, because he's not paying for it.
Well, and the other thing is, he's never been to one of her pageants until she was in National American Miss and she had to have an escort. You know, your dad is supposed to escort you. Uh-huh. And I said, well, if you can't come, you know, I'll either have her Uncle Keith escort her, mm-hmm, or I'll have Jake escort her. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, he couldn't get his butt down here fast enough.
Yeah, because you mentioned Jake.
Oh, yeah, or even Uncle Keith. I mean, because that's the jealousy thing. And it's like, okay, so, you know, he came to that one. Why? Because he thinks he's the center of attention. So, you know, I mean, it pains me that it took me as long as it did.
Yeah, to wake up.
To get out of that.
Yeah.
But the only thing that was going to take me through that was faith. Mm-hmm. So, definitely.
Yes, ma'am. Been there, done that, got the scars and the t-shirt to prove it.
Right.
Woo! Lord have mercy. Okay, Jake?
I would say definitely leaving Mississippi totally and my job over there and just, you know, being a part of New Orleans and just moving on with my life, like leaving that chapter of my life behind.
Yeah.
Over there. And just, and leaving everything over there with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting over here and starting afresh.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. How did what happened to you and your ex-wife, Demi's mom? If you don't mind me asking.
Demi's mom really was bad off in the drugs.
Okay. No, don't say nothing else. I got you. That's a bad situation, because I was wondering, who gives their child to the father? That right there is proof enough. Say no more.
It didn't take long to win in court.
No, I'm sure it didn't. So, okay, what about from your young adult and teen years, where you finally realized that God had been involved because your situation suddenly changed? Or not suddenly, but changed.
From young adults or like teen years?
Yes.
I think being able to like sort of move on from this, you know, I had this very toxic idea of religion. Mm-hmm. As a young person, because he converted to Catholicism when I was in the 5th grade, mm-hmm, when my mom married my stepdad.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just had a really toxic relationship with the church for a long time. And I think when I became a young adult, and I could kind of think on my own and kind of do on my own, mm-hmm, I feel like God said to me, you know, search.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Search, seek, and ye shall find. You know, and I went to churches all over the world. You know,
yes, ma'am.
I would, cause that was my thing. You know, because if you go to church, you don't have to pay for the tour, right? Yeah. So, you know, when I went to London, I'm at Westminster Abbey. I go to church at Westminster Abbey, and now, you know, walk around, and the same thing at Notre Dame, and then, you know, actually went to the mosque in Istanbul, and, you know, I did all these things, and I really found my way. Yeah. And found what I was looking for, and I think that strengthened me, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just when I got older and I could make my own decisions with it and didn't have to do what go to my mother's church or whatever, which I didn't really enjoy.
What religion was she?
She was a Baptist, but it was independent Baptist.
Okay.
And it was different. It was very old.
Old school.
Backwards.
Okay.
Type thinking that I didn't agree with and don't agree with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm not, just how I've grown in my faith in whatever this past few years has been a lot better for me.
That's good. But no, Jackie, I'm with you on that because I experimented a lot when I was a young adult. I experimented because I literally, my mom was pregnant with me in church. And so I was born in the not necessarily born in, not really born in church, but I was always in church, the church that my mom grew up in. It was my great grandfather was a deacon at that church, and my grandmother, her mom was the deaconess, and when she passed, it was like having grown up only going to one church, and I mean, I went to everything. I remember they had Sunday school. I sung in the choir. I did the the activities in the summer with the summer camps with the church. We went to we had picnics in the park, and I did all of that my whole life, but with just that one Baptist church, and it was a good church, but they went through several ministers, and I didn't necessarily like the last minister they had because he said if I wasn't a baptized member of the church, I could no longer sing in the choir. So I got out of the choir. And when I got out of the choir, I lost my enthusiasm for going to church because the choir was what was keeping me there. So after that, I was like, I just started going through life, just doing life randomly. And when I was in my early 20s, I met a friend and we went to the mosque. We went to, then when I met my first husband, we would go to certain churches, a Presbyterian church, Episcopalian, and just experiment with different religions. Then when I met my friend in high school, we went to a Catholic church. So I've had my share of experiencing all religions because I'm like, I don't want you just to give me that flavor. I want to taste all the flavors.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how I came about to how I ended up. And even at one point when me and Alice got married, we both joined a Baptist church, but then we changed when we left there because the minister wasn't the word he started. That was when Katrina had happened, and when all of the people from here moved up there, it was like the messages were changing, and we were like, what the. So we ended up going and joining a non-denominational church that we really love, Carrie Shooks. And we went there for until we moved down here. And when we moved here, we started going to Franklin Avenue Baptist Church. The new, we joined at the old location, but then they've recently built another building off of I-10. So we started going there. But now me and Zon go to a Methodist church. And
yeah, we're Methodist. We go to First Grace United Methodist.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, we love it. It is wonderful. So if you ever want to come visit.
Yes, ma'am. I love it because it's so, I can't even think of the word for it. It's just eye-opening. After years and years of being in the Baptist religion, seeing how Methodists run their services, and I mean, it's like, I don't know. I just like organization.
And I'll tell you, at our church, we are one of the very few churches that is interracial. We have black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people. I mean, we got everybody. It's very open. It's very loving.
Yeah.
And the girls love it. Like I'd always joke and say like half their social life is coming to church here. But
that's a good thing though, because Zon is Her and
they really, you know, I mean, they have great friends.
Yes.
From here.
Yes.
I trust people here with my children. I know they're not going to hear anything crazy that I'm going to have to like
go ballistic on them. Yeah.
You know, so it's been a beautiful experience, and we've been here since we moved to New Orleans in 2019.
Wow.
And yeah, we absolutely love it. And our choir is amazing too. I mean, I can't lie. Like, that's a big, I'm telling you.
See, we don't even have a choir, but our musician, Frank Thompson Jr., he's a professional recording artist. So he leads the services. We don't have a choir.
Our choir director / music minister is the assistant band director for Edna Carr.
Oh, wow.
And then our children's minister actually works with Edna Carr with their band as well. He was a trumpet player at, I believe, oh my God, I want to say Jackson State. But if I get that wrong, Maurice is going to get me. But he's amazing. And so, I mean, our choir is just, they're so good. They've been in the gospel tent at Jazz Fest a few years. I mean, I've sang with the choir a little bit, but I teach Sunday school on Sundays, so I'm always in there at 10 a.m. with my little unhinged children.
What grades do you teach?
Most of the time, it's 3rd through 5th, but sometimes I'll have the 1st through 3rd graders in there, and they're my favorite because they say the craziest stuff. But I mean,
look, out of the mouths of babes.
Oh, I'm telling you, they say sometimes I'm like, I do not think your parents will be very happy that you're telling me that.
No filters.
Those are like my babies. So I teach them, and Dee and Denny have their own little Sunday school class. They're in there with, you know, it's mostly girls. There are 2 boys that'll be in their class periodically, but mostly it's girls in there, and they're all middle school girls, you know, so it's like, you gotta, their teacher I pray for, because she's gotta stop the gap fest every Sunday to get it going with the lesson. But yeah, we love it, so if y'all ever want to come visit with us,
okay, definitely do. And the same vice versa. We go to Boynton United Methodist Church in Gretna off of 5th Street. It's Louisiana and 5th, at the corner of Louisiana and 5th. So you guys are welcome. But like I say, we don't have a choir, and we don't have Sunday school. We have Bible study over we do a Zoom call every Thursday. And
I'll send you some info, because they're doing Vacation Bible School, but they have a Vacation Bible School for the middle schoolers.
Okay.
And it's actually in the evenings.
Okay.
So it works great for people who work. It's from like 6 to 8.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think Zon will have a blast.
Okay.
Dee and Denny are going to be there, and they always have a good time. So yeah, I'll send you all that.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll
let my friends know too, because Zon and their daughter, the pastor's daughter, and my friend Teresa, we used to go to Franklin Avenue together, because Franklin Avenue had a children's church where the girls would go. So the girls, we also had a friend, Mary, but they've moved to Texas now, and they live in a suburb in Dallas. But me and Teresa are still tight, and we hang out in that church. Like I say, she started going to her husband's church, which is Boynton United Methodist Church, and the girls are the acolytes at church. Okay. Yeah, so Skylar and Zon are the acolytes. Yeah. So, okay. Another memory, or perhaps something you were told about your younger self because you don't remember, when you were a child, a toddler, or an infant.
Let me see. My parents always told lots of stories about me. Because like I said, I was always into something and doing something. But I think the funniest thing is I used to do stuff to my granddie all the time. And he was like me. He had the gift of gab. He could sit there and yap with somebody forever. And he had me in the backseat of his Cadillac after we had been at the grocery store. And he's just yapping, with his friend. And I got into the pork chops, and I painted the whole inside of his Cadillac with pork chops.
Huh?
Yeah.
You're talking about the meat, right?
Oh, yeah, I took the pork chop out of the package and rubbed it all over the windows, all over the seats, all over the dashboard, like I was cleaning with it. Yeah.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious.
Yep.
So you were cleaning this car with the pork chop?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was. I know he was not happy.
Especially with all that pork grease. I know that was hard to get off the windows.
Oh.
Okay. Jake?
They say my uncle fed me or gave me a bite of a hot pepper sandwich or something like that.
Uh-huh.
A child, which I don't remember, and my mother was definitely not happy, or my grandmother, but he thought it was hilarious.
I can imagine. That sounds like something an uncle would do.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, in closing, what does being refined by the fires mean to you? And what would you say, and would you say that you've been refined by the fires?
I think being refined by the fires to me means that, when you go through things, you go through the tough things, you go through the hard things.
Yes.
You're reborn.
Yes.
In a way.
Mm-hmm.
You come out reborn. And I feel like I've definitely done that multiple times in my life.
Yep. You and me both.
Yeah.
Jake?
Yeah, I have to agree. I feel like I've lived many different people's lives, so I think I'm getting close to the best version of myself I've been. So
yeah,
definitely been refined.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you both agreeing to do this interview with me, and let me close us out in prayer.
Okay.
We thank you, Heavenly Father, for yet another successful podcast interview. We pray that it helps someone who runs across my channel or this particular episode now or in the future, but before your return, as it'll be too late. May they gain all the things that are needed to help them make their life and its challenges a little bit better by being in the know. Keep them near you, O Lord, and take care of them so that they may apply something they've heard on here today. These are our prayers through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys, and you guys have a great evening.